How's it going, everyone? Joey here, and I am joined by Konrad from the Commonwealth Realm because we're about to do it like the good old days back on that channel. We're going to be talking Zelda. We're going to go straight into spoilers for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. If you have not played this game, or if you have not even beaten it, rather, like, what are you doing? What are you even doing here, for one? Go beat it. Like, take your time, sure, but I wanted to beat that main quest, Konrad. I don't want to see spoilers, because like, it's been 2 weeks already. Spoilers are bound to be, like, most places, but yeah, what an ending, Konrad. What right off the bat, like, what are your thoughts on that final boss and that ending? Because I think you and I share a pretty negative opinion on Breath of the Wild's story and ending.
Yeah, I'll definitely say it wasn't Dark Beast Ganon. That's for sure.
So good.
Like, I would say all the phases were brilliant. My only complaint is maybe that we didn't get to fight Mummy Ganondorf in any of them. I would have liked to fight him maybe in a short first phase, and then he turns into Ganondorf. Then he ends up as the Demon King, and then we get Dragondorf.
Yes. I should have seen that coming, that he was going to turn into a dragon, because, for one, what a shocker moment in those memories where Zelda turned into a dragon. Jaw hit the floor. I was like, no. Because, they hinted at it. They foreshadowed that it was going to happen. But a part of me was just like, there's no way. There's no way Zelda's going to swallow the sacred stone. She's going to turn into a dragon and lose herself. That's not going to happen. And then it did. When her eyes turned that purple, bluish color, and then she screamed, protect them all, I was like, no. This poor girl has been through more hell than, like, any character in video games ever. She's in the first game, in Breath of the Wild, she spent 100 years, like, sealing off Ganon from coming out.
Everyone she loved, apart from Link.
Yes. Everyone. And then she gets turned into a dragon for how many hundreds of thousands of years, however long that was. I mean, at least she forgot it all at the end, right? But still, I was just like, that's just a shock right there. It was the storytelling here. It's not perfect. It's not even like, I don't even think it's like the best in Zelda, but it was still far better than Breath of the Wild, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think definitely it's an improvement from Breath of the Wild. The story was the main reason I didn't give... Well, more the storytelling, again, was the main reason why I couldn't give a perfect 100. Because when you have a 100 score, like, when you have a 9 to 10, it's easier to give that 10. But when you have 100, you really need... Because I ended up giving the game 99, and the story was the reason. It was as simple as that. I think they could have done so much more with those past cutscenes, and especially when you have an entire war, a massive battle. Like, imagine if we could have fought as Ganondorf as Zelda first, and then again as Link. But the first time you don't win, because of course Raru has to seal with the arm, but the second time you win. Like, it would have been an amazing story structure.
Yeah, and I know people were hoping we'd be able to play as Zelda, so sorry that didn't happen again, but yeah, it's definitely an improvement. I definitely feel like there was a lot more significantly, like, powerful moments in Tears of the Kingdom that really, like, struck a chord with me, the player. For one, of course, Zelda turning into a dragon, just a shocking, tragic moment there. I feel sorry for anyone that's beaten this game without getting all the memories. Like, you're probably going to be very confused, especially since they never outright... When Link talks to other characters, I think Mineru is the one character. She says, like, Zelda did something forbidden, and, like, if you don't get all the memories, you'll never know what that is. But let's start with the lead up to Ganondorf's battle, which I didn't know at first where to go, and then I realized, oh, duh, Hyrule Castle down below. You weren't kidding, Konrad, when you told me stock up on food that will give you gloom resistance.
It's very much a Dark Souls style boss. It's definitely the first two phases. Like, the whole path down there feels like Dark Souls because you have to go through these narrow corridors filled with overpowered monsters and constantly being danger of gloom. And then you get to that moment where the game started, that exact staircase. Yes. And it's just like, oh my god, I've been here before.
Yes, the classic, like, hey, we're back where we started. I love it when stories do that. It's just like, hey, we're back where we started, only this time it's the final battle.
full circle.
Coming full circle. It's so good. And I don't know about you, but I ran through that section as much as I could. Like, I'm just like, oh, there's a Lionel. I'll handle you later, buddy. Right now, I forgot to bring anti-gloom stuff, so I'm just going to run to the end. And when you get to the point where, even after the battle with Ganondorf's army, I thought, okay, so here I am, like, I'm about to fight Ganondorf, but oh no, I need food. So I thought about fast traveling out of there. You can't do that. You have to reload an old save.
Nope.
But I found a loophole.
Oh, there's a loophole.
Travel medallion. So you can't do it when you get into Ganondorf's throne room. You can't do it there. But right before you get to the part where you fight Ganondorf's army, you could use it there. So you don't have to go through all that mess of a dungeon. Sort of, it's kind of a dungeon. It's like you said, more of a linear Dark Souls area. But yeah, insanely challenging. And you did it with the barbarian armor, right?
Well, I had the barbarian helmet. I had the champion leathers. And then I had the Fierce DT pants. But I had only upgraded once the set, because I'd only unlocked the main fairy. I'm not going to do escort mission because I need to get to the end of the story before it gets spoiled to me. And then I'll do the side quests afterwards, because that's how I roll. It's as simple as that. I'm going to do enough shrines, so I'm strong enough. I'm going to say I beat Ganondorf with 20 hearts. So I'd done around half of the shrines, maybe a little bit more, because of course I had pulled the Master Sword as well and gotten the Hylian Shield. Like, at that point, when I've done all the dungeons, done quite enough of shrines, and also collected the two main sources of attack and defense in The Legend of Zelda, then I'm ready to fight Ganondorf.
Right.
And it was tough. I'm gonna admit, it was very tough, but I pulled it through. And 3 a.m., I've never been so happy at 3 a.m. apart from maybe like the Game Awards.
Yeah, exactly.
With announcements.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that this game can really be as easy or as hard as you want it to be because of those armor combinations you can get. For me, I went full-on Light Dragon, Scale, Horn, Talon farming. I unlocked all the great fairies, and I said, I'm going into this battle Champion Leathers upgraded to the max. It's still challenging, but it makes it significantly easier. I think I had one less heart than you did. I think I had 19 hearts. But like, when Ganondorf hits you at that point, you only lose one heart, which is just way easier. But also, like, when you get to a certain phase, when you get to the Demon King phase, the heart just disappears for good until you're in the next phase, which I'm like, oh crap, they really are just like, if you thought you could come in here, just stock up on food, just food that heals you, you got another thing coming. You better get your Sundelions over here, because my goodness, you're going to be losing all kinds of hearts, and you're never going to get them back otherwise. Man, I hate Gloom so much. I don't think it's a bad mechanic. It's a really good mechanic, but I hate it at the same time.
Exactly. Like, to me, I would say that this game did a quite good job with bringing back the horror in Zelda, because that was my main complaint with Breath of the Wild. You didn't have much horror to begin with, and this game really did that with the whole the depths, with the gloom, and of course some of the, well, we can finally talk about them, the gloom hands, like that enemy. And then you defeat them, and you have to fight Phantom Ganon.
It's not enough to defeat them, then you gotta fight Phantom Ganon. My goodness, that's just. I thought this was like their version of the wall masters and stuff, which I guess they kind of are, but then they totally just throw you for a curve when it's just like, oh, by the way, here's Phantom Ganon. Surprise, he's in the game. Good luck. Yeah, it definitely is more of a scary game. I don't think it's like as horrifying as like Majora's Mask or even like Twilight Princess, but it's definitely they definitely improved upon it more, especially just the fact that Ganondorf is in like the center of the planet. Not really, but it feels like he is, because how deep you go, and then you fall down into the depths, and there's
it just feels like it never ends.
Yeah, it really just never ended. And then makes me wonder how the rest of the sages got there so easily. Just like, hey, we're coming in to help you, Link. And I think that is a much better reward to completing all the dungeons than the reward for completing them in Breath of the Wild. where the Divine Beast just fired upon Calamity Ganon and like just cut half his health in half. Like that's, I don't think that was as good of a reward, but yeah, I can't imagine trying to beat this game from the very beginning and going straight to Ganondorf. Like, because again, your hearts don't come back. You can't just stock up on like any food. I commend any speedrunner that could do this. I think somebody beat it in 90 minutes. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, it's been below 1.5 hours. I think it's the world record as of recording right now. It's like 1 hour 15 minutes, something around that range.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, but because the opening itself is like 5 to 10 minutes that you can't skip for those cutscenes because otherwise it doesn't count. The Great Sky Island is also pretty time consuming because you don't have the ability to teleport until going for the fourth shrine, and that is also very story heavy, so that's another bunch of cutscenes that takes time. You need to relinquish the Master Sword, you need to make your first skydive, and then make your way through Hyrule Castle, jump down into the chasm there, and then get through the hell that is down there. Ganon's army, all the bosses, without any help, and then Ganondorf plus oh my god. Yeah, you also have to fight Phantom Ganon actually. It's 5 bosses. It's 5 bosses in a row. It's no, 6 bosses. 6 bosses.
Dude, Ganondorf was just
crazy.
Ganondorf is just like, okay, you thought you can get me so easily in Breath of the Wild, but I'm back with a vengeance. First of all, that's another thing I want to talk about. Calamity Ganon. I feel like this game completely forgot Calamity Ganon existed. Like, they talk about the Great Calamity, right? Like, referencing it. I don't get how Ganondorf and Calamity Ganon are connected in the slightest. I don't get it one bit. I don't even think the game cares to explain it either. Because in this game, Ganondorf existed a long, long time ago, like back in the past where Zelda and the Zonai were like a thing. He's been sealed as the Demon King, looking a lot like Demise. Really cool touch there. It makes me wonder, what was Calamity Ganon in Breath of the Wild? What was that?
It was probably a creation of Ganondorf. Like the malice that he managed to accumulate over tens of thousands of years, and then unleashing this being into Hyrule Castle, and then spawns of that into the Divine Beasts, and strands of malice to corrupt the Guardian Stalkers and the turrets.
It's a simple explanation, but it's totally fine. And you know, it makes more sense because it seemed like in Breath of the Wild, Calamity Ganon just came out of the castle. So it kind of makes sense that way because he was like in the depths of the castle. So yeah, I do kind of wish they touched upon that a bit more, because it does seem like, oh yep, Calamity Ganon was a thing. I love how in one of the memories, Zelda was like, this guy Ganondorf, I don't trust him. Even his name, Ganondorf, it makes me feel uneasy. And I'm like, really, Zelda? What part of his name specifically makes you feel uneasy? Weird stuff like that. It's mostly nitpicky, but I kind of wish they tied those two things together.
I'm going to be honest. Zelda and Rauru are complete idiots in this story. It's like, oh yeah, I see he's evil, but I'm not going to do anything about it.
What was Raru's logic there was like, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And I'm like, yeah, and your wife's dead now, buddy. Good job.
Exactly. That's what the consequence is going to be. Zelda is not, like, she's supposed to be smart. The sciencey girl, but she can't connect Calamity Ganon and Ganondorf. It's literally, you just met this evil dude with the hand of Rauru. Seriously, girl.
It's crazy, yeah. And can we talk about that face Ganondorf makes after he kills what's-her-face, Sonya?
Yeah.
Just
it's
like,
so goofy. It
was so goofy. It literally came in like 2 frames. I was like, oh geez. Yeah. Ganondorf, I love that they made him more of a character in this, because let's be real, he wasn't even in Breath of the Wild at all. Whatever Calamity Ganon was, didn't talk. He was more of a malevolent force than he was like a character.
It was a creation of him.
Yeah, and then they made him more of they made him like an actual character in this. And I wish they gave him like more screen time rather. Because other than the final boss, he's mainly restricted to just the memories. I feel like they didn't give Matthew Mercer enough time to like shine into the voice role of it all.
I completely agree. Like, I think one scene in Gerudo Desert with him planning the attack would have added so much more, because we would have understood more of the chemistry. Like, we see he's pulling up with the Gerudo to this battle. and gets absolutely destroyed by Sonia and Zelda's combined power. And then, of course, he laughs because he knows now, okay, I need to get rid of one of them to get hold of the power that they hold. So I would have loved a little bit more of the Gerudo. Like, most of all, I wished for one thing. I wish we had some playable sections with Zelda.
Yeah.
Because it would have worked. Because it's not set in the same time. It's a different Hyrule. The sections that we completed in the sky, like the Temple of Time, are all still on the surface. They have not gone up to the sky yet. So you could easily have had sections with Zelda in the castle, because most of the cutscenes happen there. There isn't much of past memories that are outside of there. It's mostly Zelda drinking tea with Queen Sonia. It's them meeting Zelda at the Great Plateau and the battle there, plus going to what would become later Hyrule Castle, because of course they built Hyrule Castle above where Rauru sealed Ganondorf.
True, yeah. I feel like playable sections would have made those like really interesting, like more than just like, you know, walking and listening to people, but like, you know, maybe there could be puzzles in there somewhere. I also
there could easily be combat, because like the whole battle, you know, with stopping Ganondorf first and then going down to him and fighting him could easily have made into gameplay sections. Easily.
Yeah. I don't know about easily. I'm not a game developer, but I feel like that could have been a really good concept. I mentioned in my earlier discussion, my 1 week later discussion, that I didn't like how the memories were out of order, but the comment section told me that there can be an order if you just paid attention in the map room. But I don't even think that was that clear. It wasn't made very clear that there was an order to these memories.
And I'm going to be honest, in a game where you're set to have so much freedom and exploring, and suddenly you get by one of these geoglyphs, of course you're going to press A.
Yes.
Because you don't know when you're going to get back there.
Exactly. It's hard to get those things in order, especially if you're like me and you do it like right when I didn't even have the full map unlocked, and I went around finding as much as I could, and I always chose the nearest one. Like, that's just how I did it, and that's how most people are going to do it. But instead, I had to find out, oh, Sonia's dead. And then but I didn't even see her cutscene of her dying yet until the very last thing I collected. So yeah, I feel like if there's one thing I need them to change about this new Zelda formula going forward, it's memories. That's one thing. I got tired of them in the first game, and I was tired of them in this one, mainly because like you get them out of order. In Breath of the Wild, it was more forgivable because I felt like most of those memories were mostly self-contained. I didn't feel like watching them in a specific order like could make or break it. But here it was just like you needed to watch those things in order, and it's really weird watching them out of order, because like 1 minute, like I said, like one of the cutscenes I saw was Sonia's grave, and I'm like, oh, what happened? It's really ridiculous. But
yeah, that was my issue with the story as well. It's like you can have a linear story still. Like, you just activate, like the way they could have easily solved this is just by having the geoglyphs be more generic, and then whatever order you pick them up, it just plays the linear order.
Exactly.
And if you had then playable sections, it would be amazing, because you go through this whole journey of Zelda in the past. Because how else are you going to have a connection to this? In Breath of the Wild, the memories tied to your moments with Zelda. So you had more of a personal connection, because, okay, I still see myself in those cutscenes. Now, you don't do that. So I think that this game really could have benefited from some 5-minute long sections, 5 to 10 minutes, like the shorter, less action-filled stuff. It would be enough, like 2-3 minutes of just moving a little bit around the castle, talking with Rauru, King Rauru, and then Queen Sonia. And the action sequences could be like 5 to 10 minutes. I think no one would have anything against that. And when you return back to Link, at least you played something. You had a gameplay section there. I think that would have benefited a lot.
Agreed. I totally agree. Like, I didn't even think about that, but that would have been so cool. And it also would have made people happy because they got to play a Zelda for once, you know? But, you know, if you want to play Zelda, just play Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, everybody. I want to get back to this ending because, boy, was it hype. It was so hype. For one, final boss was fantastic. Like, I felt like it was like, for me at least, because I had like the full armor set, I didn't think it was like super hard. I didn't think it was super easy either. I felt like it was just perfectly fine as is. Like the first phase was just, once you figured out his attacks, it was just pretty easy from there. He's just like, it's so cool how they got him to do like the dodge attacks that Link does too in slow
the flurry
motion.
rush. The only thing that disappointed me about that was that he didn't immediately launch an attack at us after flurry rushing, because that's usually what Link does, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And then when you get to the Demon King phase, like he dodges multiple times and you gotta dodge again. It's like a new version of him throwing a projectile at you and you hitting it back, like the Ocarina of Time boss battle. But in this case, it's like first he dodges, then you dodge, and then you flurry rush. That's the ultimate dopamine rush when you finally nail that second flurry rush. And like you think the sage is coming in and like helping you out. It's just like, oh yeah, you're screwed now, Demon King. And it's just like, nope, enough. And then he knocks him out. It's just like, just you and me, boy. Let's do this. Let's go. And then like I think, okay, well, after that phase, it's over. It's done. You're done, Demon King. You're done. And he's just like, nope. Remember what happened to Zelda? I'm gonna eat this thing. And I'm like, oh no, I should have known this was gonna happen. And oh man, this final phase was kind of similar to the final phase, the Dark Beast Ganon phase in Breath of the Wild. But it was so much cooler. It was more engaging. It was a grand spectacle. Dark Beast Ganon was kind of a spectacle, but this one was an incredible one. It was the easiest phase by far, right? But I was engaged the whole time. And it was kind of like, you know how when you work out and when you're done working out, you go through like a cool down? It felt like that to me. It was more of a cool down. It's just like, yes, the hard stuff's over. Now you got to finish this fight with this cooldown. Only it's way cooler than just shooting arrows at holes. This time, Zelda's dragon comes in and helps you out. And that's just significant because when you turn into a dragon, you lose yourself completely. But here, she's helping you out. She's still there somewhat. She's still somewhat there. And she decides now's the time. I've waited like thousands, hundreds of thousands, years for this. Maybe tens of thousands. I don't know the timing of it all. But it was fantastic. It was epic. My heart was racing through the entire thing. I was just like, yes, here we go. It was so good. What'd you think of that section, Konrad?
All right, what I'm going to say first is that you need the Master Sword to finish that section. So what happens is that if you haven't pulled the Master Sword, Zelda pulls up so that you can pull the Master Sword. You have to pull the Master Sword sequence.
No way. I didn't know that. It's so good.
And then you can start finishing off the Demon Dragon. And it's such, like, it's very similar to Dark Beast Ganon, but the fact that you're actually slamming him with the Master Sword and have to land on him to do that. Because in the case of Dark Beast Ganon, you were shooting from distance, most likely from your horse.
Yes.
Here, you actually have to land on the Demon Dragon and hit those Eyes of Malice, and then rinse repeat until you get to the final section where you just slam that blade into the tier. And yeah, that's that. And then the sequence after that, where you have to skydive and catch. Oh my god! On one side, turning Zelda back was maybe a little bit cheap story writing.
I wouldn't feel good. I wouldn't feel good if she just remained a dragon for all eternity. So I think they had to do that.
Yeah, you need your happy ending in Zelda, so it's understandable. But that sequence is incredible. Where you have to just skydive and then catch her and fall down into that lake.
It's another one of those full circle events. It's another one of those full circle events where, like, because at the beginning he didn't catch her, and this was his. I'm gonna make a Spider-Man reference here. This was Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man moment, his chance at redemption. He didn't catch Gwen Stacy, but he caught MJ in No Way Home. That was literally like that, and oh man, like they call this game Tears of the Kingdom, but it's not referring to the sacred stones. It's referring to the tears you're gonna cry during this moment. Because my goodness, the music hit perfectly. They played an orchestrated version of Zelda's Lullaby. Oh my god. So story-wise, Tears of the Kingdom, it's not like the best story in all of Zelda. It's probably not even top 5, but this ending, bro, probably top 3. Like, it's so good.
Like, my main my main issue with the ending and the final boss fight is that Ganondorf didn't say much. He's just like, I'm a king, I must do what a king must do, rule and create this new world of mine. Like, I expected more of a story dump, more of Wind Waker Ganon than this. Because I feel like, in terms of narrative, this is probably the weakest Ganondorf in the series. He doesn't say much about himself. Like, Ganondorf is a very talkative character. He likes to explain and tell why he is angry, that you are ruining his plans and so on.
I think Twilight Princess's Ganondorf's probably weaker. He just showed up.
Yeah, he showed up, but he talks about how he used the Twilight for his advantage. When he couldn't get more of them because he saw them as weak, he just tossed them away. And then he talked about him being a fitting king, you know, with the Triforce of Power, and then possessing Zelda. Like, the ending of Twilight Princess, never underrate that one, because it's a really, really good ending.
It's solid. It's dark too, just like the way Ganondorf died by getting his neck snapped telepathically or something. I was like, whoa, dark. Do that again for the next Zelda game, please. But yeah, I get your criticisms there, because like I said, this story is definitely not perfect, and I'll agree with you on the Ganondorf thing too. He definitely could have said more. I still think Nintendo, even though they made a lot of good choices for Tears of the Kingdom, like, I feel like they improved upon every single aspect of Breath of the Wild. I still feel like they're also still learning a lot too about this North formula.
Yeah, of course.
And story is also one of the things they're trying to balance out too, because it's very clear with this formula that gameplay is their number one focus. Gameplay is always their number one focus, but it's even more of a focus this time. Story is taking a little bit more of a back burner here, even though there's more of it in Tears of the Kingdom. So I definitely hope, like, for future Zelda iterations, they find a better balance in their story aspects. But I'm just glad the ending landed, because it did not. It landed in a lake, more specifically.
But it landed well. That splash and everything.
Yes, everything. I have a few nitpicks though. Yeah. Zelda needed to hug Link. Damn it! Like, come on! You're telling me these two have a relationship, not like a romantic one, but it's clear they care for each other, right? Show me, show me. Come on, and let's talk about that end credit scene, the after credit scene. Definitely feels like a closing of this storyline. I hope so, at least, because I want the Zelda game after this to, you know, tell a new story with new versions of Link and Zelda, right? I also just feel like, what more can you do after you literally destroyed, like, Demon Dragon Ganondorf, right?
Yeah, there's nothing left.
There's nothing left, and Hyrule is left to be watched over by Zelda and her sages. I feel like they gotta give Link more respect, though. Like, I always feel like the characters are always treating Zelda like she's like the hero and stuff, and then Link's always like joined with the Six Sages. I'm like, no, it's Link's the hero, you know? Like, the hobbits were the heroes in Lord of the Rings. King Aragorn knew it and said, you bow to no one. So I think that's still like more of a nitpick, really, but I do feel like Link deserves more respect after he literally killed a dragon. like with Zelda's help, of course, but still.
That's true. Like, to me, the post-credit scene was just a conclusion. Like, this is the end of the Zonai. Raru said goodbye in that moment when you save Zelda. When she turns back from dragon form to Hylian form. And now you say goodbye to his sister, Minoru, who completed her task. Like, they both agreed one thing in that moment when she pulled up to her with the broken Master Sword. It's like, okay, we need to do this. I'm gonna die, and my spirit is gonna be saved in the Purapad, while you are gonna become a dragon. That's gonna be the plan. We're both gonna aid Link in our own way when the time arrives. And that is one thing I could appreciate, because it showed that Minoru and Zelda connection was actually of importance, because it's obvious that both are the nerds and the intelligent, wise characters of each era.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I definitely felt like Minoru could have used more screen time. She was mainly more of
I agree.
I feel like she was just an exposition dump most of the time. Like, the most she talked was talking about what happened in the past. And yeah, I feel like story does kind of suffer as a result of this new gameplay formula. We talked about this in our 1 week later discussion too. It's just like they're at odds with each other, story and the gameplay. So I definitely hope they find a way to like balance that out in, you know, future Zelda games that are definitely using this formula, because Aonuma said, yo, this makes money. We're going to keep doing the thing that makes money. It's also really good. So, yeah, I came away from this game just absolutely satisfied, more than satisfied with this ending. I thought about it for hours upon end. I'm still thinking about it. Like, I just beat it yesterday as of recording this, but I will definitely... I think that moment where Link is like catching Zelda as they're falling is one of the top 5 Zelda moments. Like, just it absolutely just jaw hit the floor once again. Just like, whoa, I'm actually doing this. Like, I had my controller set down watching the final cutscenes, thinking once I stuck my sword in Ganondorf's big ol' eyes, it was done. And I was just like, oh, I gotta save the princess. So good.
There's one final gameplay sequence, and of course it is skydiving. Of course it is skydiving.
Of course it is. It's so fantastic. Skyward Sword predicted the future. Oh, speaking of Skyward Sword, the final thing I want to talk about is, what is the Zelda timeline anymore, Konrad? What is that? Because, you know, Nintendo doesn't care about it, but I don't know if I believe that, because Fi is definitely still around. So, like, where did the Zonai come in after Skyward Sword? Like, what's going on?
Okay, so I'm gonna explain a little bit what I think is going on here. This is obviously all taking place after all the other timelines. It goes without saying, because it doesn't fit
even the past
anywhere.
segments.
Yeah, like, it doesn't. Yeah, even that. It takes all place after that, and I think our theory back from 2017 about the convergence is correct. The dragon break, which fits very well with the theme of dragons, you know, that is present in this game. What I think has simply happened is that pretty much everything got reset as a result of all the timelines getting back into one again. Some elements carried over, but the memories of that previous world is very fragmented. It doesn't really... It's more of legends. It happened, but the people living don't know how it happened. So you have Fi, you have Hylia, you have probably the Curse of Demise or the Demon Tribe in Ganondorf, especially when he places the stone and becomes the Demon King, so the leader of the Demon Tribe. I simply think that this is just a reboot combined with that whole convergence thing that we pretty much read. Like, I remember back in 2017 we uploaded the timeline twice, like days apart, because first we said, oh yeah, this is after Twilight Princess, but then we realized it's elements from all timelines. It has to be a convergence. So I remember we made that entire animation where it turned into a rupee. Remember?
Yes, I do remember that. Beautiful.
So I think we are long after the end of that rupee. That's where I think we are.
It kind of makes sense, right? Because, you know, I definitely don't think the Zelda team keeps the timeline in mind as they write the stories, but at the same time, it's like like you said, they mention stuff from past games. Obviously, like even in Breath of the Wild, they have like a stone carving of the story of Princess Ruto from Ocarina of Time. So I'm like, okay, that's a thing. So it's, and let alone just the fact that Fi is in the sword and we hear her like noises in it and they totally talk to her in it. So yeah, it's just a lot. So yeah, I think yours makes the most sense of just like, it's just set so far in the future that it doesn't even matter at this point anymore. I do love that the Sky Islands are still in the sky. Like at the end, they didn't disappear.
Why would they return? Why would they fall down again though?
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense. Like, it
doesn't. Hyrule Castle's still floating.
Exactly. It's a new addition. Like, Hyrule has changed. It's clear that the history of Hyrule Castletown, it's over. Like, that's history. We have Tarry Town now. We have Skyview Landing next to the town. That's what it is, because there's no population anymore to support that kind of settlement as Hyrule Castletown was before the Great Calamity. And that's why I think this story ends well. It's with a princess that is a princess but doesn't rule in the sense that she would command an army. Like, I just did the quest line in Lorelin yesterday because, of course, I do the main quest first, and I do the side quests. Because when I've done the main quest, okay, spoilers doesn't matter as much anymore. Yeah. So what is most important to not get spoiled off the main quest? And I'm glad I avoided that. Well, actually, I saw Ganondorf before, but YouTube, why do you post this stuff on launch day?
I hate it so much.
I hate when people do that, especially with the thumbnail of all the bosses in it. Like, if someone here watching this does that, stop. Just stop. Because no one is going to like this. Everyone's going to hate you for this. It's as simple as that. They haven't played the game.
Go to YouTube jail. Do you think people are going to click on your spoiler thumbnail? They won't. They're going to get mad.
They're going to click, and then they're going to be very mad in the comments, and then they're going to click away.
That's what they do, unfortunately. But yeah.
So you're going to get horrible retention anyway, but never mind. True. But as I said, doing the side quest learns a little bit more what happened between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, what Zelda was doing, a little bit of the stuff she engaged in. Like, it's obvious that she wanted to improve Hyrule and restore as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, have you been to Lorelin? Have you done the quest line there?
I don't think I have. Which one's Lorelin Village again? Is that the one with the
It's
beach?
The beach.
Okay,
Hawaii.
I started that. I did not complete it yet. I cleared out all the monsters. I have yet to help Bolson rebuild it. So that's the next thing I'm gonna do.
That's actually a much shorter quest line than building Tarry Town, though. So
okay, good.
You can probably complete it in like an hour.
Oh, sweet, awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to get to. I want to beat all the shrines too. I think I have like 100 shrines left. I don't know if I can do it. There's so many. I don't even know what the reward is for that. So I'm really excited to see. It's probably going to be another lame outfit. I don't know.
Speaking of lame rewards. Hestu. All the Korok seeds. He did it again.
He did it again? He can't keep getting away with it.
I'm fine talking about this now. One, this is a spoiler video, and secondly, don't go for the 1,000 seeds.
Absolutely.
Like, seriously. There's a reason why people are torturing the Koroks in this game.
They deserve it. Damn those Koroks to hell.
especially Hestu, because seriously, giving you a piece of yes. After doing all that, like, it's obvious that the Zelda team says, do something better with your life.
Exactly.
Stop. It's like that Michael Jordan meme, you know? Stop. Please get help.
Get some help. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, I think we should about wrap this discussion up. It's been really good talking to you once again, Conrad, about
Zelda.
One more thing
we should talk about,
we used to talk about on the daily. I was going to ask you that. Yes. What's the one thing you want to talk about?
We haven't talked about the dungeons.
Yes, much better, much better. I think they can still have things. I still think they can be improved on in future installments. But simply put, I like that they have different bosses at the end. Although the boss at the end of the water temple sucks, and I hate it.
I agree. I'm gonna say the entire water temple. As soon as you're done with the anti-gravity section up to the water temple, it just falls apart.
Yeah, that was pretty lame. Like,
it doesn't feel like a temple. It just feels like
it's another sky
islands.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I think my favorite one though was the first one I went to, which was the fire temple, which was absolutely fantastic. It was the
storyline was so good.
It was the most like a traditional Zelda dungeon. It was very closed in. There was a lot of corridors, and utilizing the mine carts was super fun, and like it made for some really interesting puzzles with those tracks. Yeah, I'd say that temple, be more like those ones, future Zelda dungeons. Like, take more notes from that one, because that was fantastic. And I get some people might have missed like the interactive elements of the divine beasts and how like you could change what they're like. But as for me, I think what I really feel like they should improve on is give me a more interesting objective than find these 5 things and then you'll be able to get to the end. It's a very challenging thing to figure out, especially with an open format like this. But I don't know. The Zelda team's talented. They can figure something out.
I think they did a pretty good job with the Lightning Temple there. It felt more linear.
It did, yes.
Because of how you had to go through this first section just to get to the main room, and then gradually use the mirrors and the light to to unlock new areas. And let me just say, the Gibdos, bugs.
I thought those were supposed to be Redeads. They were like Redeads, but they weren't Redeads. They were still cool though.
They're not real Gibdo either. They feel more like bugs, you know?
Yeah.
Disgusting large bugs. Especially the boss, Queen Gibdo.
I can't stand moths. I can't stand moths, and those things are just ugly moths personified. Like, no thank you, sir. Just get away from me. Yeah. Any other final thoughts, Konrad, on Tears of the Kingdom? Like, nothing's off the table. There's a spoiler discussion.
Yeah, for me, the Wind Temple was an amazing reconfirmation that Zelda is back. The moment you actually reach in there and see the title Wind Temple, that's when I realized, okay, they got the memo. But then it was a little bit, you have to do these 5 terminals. Isn't that exactly what we did in the Divine Beasts?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I hope they figure out something more unique and interesting for the next Zelda game in 10 years. So that'll be nice. 10 years.
Yeah.
These games take a long time for a reason, and I'm
also going to say one more thing.
Yes.
The Spirit Temple was not well structured.
I didn't even think it was a temple. It was just a list of places to go underground.
Yeah.
It was definitely not.
Get these parts, and there's not a single enemy almost you need to fight in those in that construct factory at all.
No,
it's just a puzzle.
Yeah, and they're on the way to the enemies are on the way to like the final, like that boss. That boss was not good either. Like the mech boss, like the controls were just awkward during all that, and it was also just way too easy. Also, like once you figure out, I can topple him with this, and then it's just all over from there. Not great, not the best, but Tears of the Kingdom's still a fantastic game, and like regardless of those little mishaps there.
Yeah, and apart from that, like the experience with going back to Hyrule Castle was great. With the final tease of fake Zelda. Actually, that storyline was actually quite interesting, but it ran its course. You realized very quickly that's not Zelda. That's a creation of Ganondorf. It's as simple as that.
That's a puppet. That's the puppet Ganon, pretty much. Yeah, in that sense.
But then you have that whole expose of him. How are you still alive? I thought anything would kill that. And then he throws Phantom Ganon in your face. And I did the mistake of actually fighting Phantom Ganon there in the moment he restores the castle into the way it was before the calamity. That was also one of the best moments in the game, I think.
It was really cool.
Remember this? We shared so many memories here. This is the last thing you will ever see. and then he shows up.
That's fantastic. It's like, you're telling me I couldn't trust Zelda this whole time? Who'd have thunk? Fun fact, after you beat that Zelda, after you find out, like, that was fake Zelda the whole time, she doesn't talk in the Blood Moon cutscenes.
Yep.
That's a nice little touch. It's
completely silent. I love that.
I love it too. But thanks for joining me here, Konrad. It's been fun talking Zelda with you again. If you want to check out Commonwealth Realm's channel, link to it is in the description below. You probably already heard of Commonwealth Realm at this point, because, like, let's face it, Zelda content, peak Zelda content over there. And sounds like you're going to have a lot more spoiler content too, right?
Yes. I think now that we're past, this video is probably going to go a little bit earlier than that, but after 2 weeks, you cannot avoid spoiler content anymore. Like, it's up to you. Like, I'm not going to hold back anymore because everyone else is going to start making content. So it is as simple as that. We now want to explore and dive into this game properly. And besides, everything is a spoiler at this point because they showed so little before the release of the game. So little weapons, so little locations, barely any sky islands. I'm done with trying to recreate scenes and locations from the trailers. I'm ready to just do whatever I want in terms of this game and the content.
Be free! Be free. Fly away. Be free. Yeah. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know in the comments how you felt about the story in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And until next time, bye-bye.